Hey guys, Basil Wolf from Grayson Hobby, and today we have the new Inductrix FPV Plus, and we're going to show you a quick review, and we're going to show you how to bind it to your DX9, no BetaFlight needed. We're also going to show you how to bind it or get the same channel to any set of goggles, basically any name brand.
Yeah, just a quick little information about binding it to, or setting it up on the right channel, binding it to your radio and getting it going.
Right, because that, believe it or not, that was a lot of questions by some people who are first-time drone pilots, how to get it to set up the goggles, the radios needed. And the cool thing is, I keep emphasizing no BetaFlight.
Does the Plus mean better? We don't know. We'll find out in a few minutes.
All right, so stay tuned. It's on top of the elevator.
Okay.
Well, good news is you got it down. Bad news, it doesn't look like it did when you first started flying.
Oh!
Can you recover that? Meow mode.
Meow mode it? That's how we break it last time.
All right, meow mode that.
There we go. I can see the manual now. I can read it. Be able to see. I can see the manual. All right, what meow mode is this?
All right, yep, meow mode. Yeah, I'm ready.
Did I lose a prop? I lost a prop.
Oh, all right. Well, what we got here?
We have the Inductrix FPV Plus. Is basically the new Inductrix with 8mm motors, a little bigger, a little more power to it, bigger battery.
Again, how many Inductrix do they have? The original yellow one, or they have
the original Inductrix
without FPV,
the Inductrix FPV, the Inductrix Pro that had the BetaFlight board and all that, and then now they're in the Inductrix FPV.
So they kind of came back, right? Came back to easier software.
Yeah, I mean it's 8mm motors versus 6mm motors. The idea behind it, I guess, is to get more power from the 8mm motors to do a little bit more trick stunts, something like that.
Is this brushed?
This is brushed.
Oh.
This is brushed.
Yeah, see, I asked dumb questions, but they're not.
So
dumb.
this is a $139.99 brushed quadcopter.
It's pretty, that's for sure.
So the quad itself looks like it's made pretty well. The battery, first thing I see is the battery stands vertical instead of horizontal, which is nice because it does, I mean, if you smack down hard enough, the battery, you know, doesn't flex the frame as much. Connector is the PH style connector, which is the larger connector.
What other quad uses that? Does anything from Eachine use that one?
The Easier 10C.
Okay. So it's not an oddball connector, it is, but it's not a standard.
No, this was the upgrade connector everybody was using in the Tiny Whoops and all that. Okay. This was the higher current connector, but it's PH 2.0, I believe it's called. The motors are 8mm motors. The flight controller is not a BetaFlight, like programmable flight controller. It's back to the pre-programmed from the factory, non-programmable ones.
Which is good because if you're a beginner,
yeah, you don't have too much. You're not overwhelmed. You're not going, hey, I updated this software and everything went blank kind of thing. Yeah, so it's good for just basic grab out of the box and go. But yeah, this it's pretty cool.
Let's see the battery. What kind of battery?
All right, so the battery and all that comes with is, woo, that's a tiny manual. Okay, that's a book of a manual right there.
That is very thick.
Multiple languages usually. USB charger. Now again, this is different from the regular Inductrix and all that because it's the larger connector. It's also a 500 milliamp output rate on it. So this battery right here, that's only going to charge it, even though it's a 3C capable battery, so it can charge at 3 times its capacity, which is 1.5 amps rated. This charger only produces a 1C charge, so it's going to be about a 45-minute charge and it's completely dead. If you want to charge multiple batteries at a time, you know, that's kind of limited there. You can get an aftermarket parallel board. These are not very expensive at all and allow you to charge up to 6 batteries at one time.
GH2039, there you go.
And this actually works for the older Inductrix too, so you can do either the old Inductrix or this new FPV Plus, or if you have any of the Tiny Whoops that have the bigger high current connector already, you could use that as well. So it gives you the option of either style connector, but in this case we're going to be using the larger ones here.
So that plugs in there. And
this would plug into your standard charger.
You just dump this in the garbage and you use your regular charger.
And now the only catch on that is make sure you have a charger that can charge, not balance charge, but also charge a LiPo, one cell. Because when you put these in parallel, it's not adding voltage up, it's only adding capacity.
Right. Balance charging and charging are 2 different things, believe it or not.
As long as it can charge a 1 cell LiPo, then you're good. So
that's inches.
Do you want inches?
All right. Yeah, sure, why not? So it's about over 2 inches long, that's for sure.
Yeah, what, half an inch wide?
A little more. Over half an inch.
All right, so the battery is going to go in, looks like so.
Okay.
So not bad, actually. Yeah. Locks in pretty nice.
Put it back over, I noticed the antenna.
The antenna is a little monopole. I don't think it's a dipole. It looks like it's just their standard little whip antenna.
So it's good for crashing.
Yeah, it's good for durability. The range might be, the video quality at range on it might suffer a little bit. But again, you're not trying to fly a mile out with these things. It's a 25 milliwatt transmitter. Regular Inductrix actually is very, very good video quality, low light as far as the CMOS sensor was. But it also had pretty good reception for where I was flying it. So I think this will be about the same.
$1 million question. Will this work with my Tyrannus radio?
No. Not without a module on it.
Don't you laugh at my questions.
Yeah. This is Spectrum DSMX, DSM2, DSMX, I would assume.
And that's why you have your radio right here.
Got my trusty DX9 here.
All right. So only work with Spectrum radios.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's a DSMX protocol. So
any one of those radios, you can always get the Ready to Fly version, which comes with the radio.
The transmitter bind and fly setup.
First problem, you're in the wrong language. All right, what's the?
So I get in here. All right, now I can read it. So if you're using a computer transmitter set type acro, so we're going to set up as an airplane. We're not going to do any fancy multi-rotor setup or anything like that. We're going to go into the radio. This is the DX9, but pretty much if you got any of the Black Edition ones or the newer 6, 7, or I'm sorry, 6 or 8 or 9, just set up a new model. I'm just going to create a new model here. And then model type, it said just set up as a plane.
Not a quad.
So get there. Now we're going to go to channel assign. We're going to go to the next page. And they said channel 6 was going to be a momentary button. So all we have to do is select the button and then push it. And when I push it, it changes the eye. Now you can scroll through and change it as well, but it's just easier to do that. And then it said set the gear channel, which was channel 5, to a 3 position. The factor right now its default's A. That's only a 2 position, so that's not going to work. We're going to need a 3 position. Okay. So what I need to do is select the gear channel, and then I'm going to flip. You could use C, D, B, whatever you want. I like B switch right there, so I'm going to set that there. Okay. And then you're just going to cancel out of that. So
or save. Remember?
Yeah, I mean it's saved there. So we're going to go back. Then we need to go into the main menu. So you back out, then you go to the servo setup. Then we're going to go, not travel, but we're going to go to reverse. Then we're going to go to aux1, which is channel 6. And then we're just going to reverse that. And then we're just going to back out. And that's it. And the only other thing to do is set your timer.
So your radio's on.
Yeah, you could either, there's 2 different ways to bind it.
Right.
With the radio,
the old school guy with the radio off. But
with the radio on, you just go into the menu.
So your battery's plugged in now.
Yeah.
It's me blinking right
there. Go
there.
system setup, and then go to bind, and then I usually
binding. Has to be held away from it, right?
It might actually bind point blank on this one. So, but it's going to tell you bound. It's going to say bind complete.
Bind complete.
So it's set. Now the other way of doing it is, like Basil was saying, is with the radio off. So if you guys have the older like DX7 or some of the older radios don't have the menu in there, or DX6i, that's where you do the button binding. So it's in bind mode. You turn it on.
Hold the bind button.
Hold the button.
Same with you with
say
any
binding.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna see if it does it pretty close. Yeah, actually this one bound. I'm less than a foot away. So that's pretty good.
Okay. So now I notice this bind's complete. You got to reset it or anything? It's always a good idea to reset it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, well at this point. I'm going to put the battery in.
Okay.
So, okay, and now this is a polarized plug. Be careful, you don't try to force it one way or the other. Yeah. So we're going to plug it in here. Put it down. Actually, flight mode switch.
In the back. Okay. So you're moving that 3-position switch we did right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once it's bound,
give it some throttle.
So it's not going to arm. The motors aren't going to work like the old Inductrix. You do actually have to arm it. And now this button that I programmed here. The momentary button is going to double as the meow mode, which is the, if it's upside down, it'll flip it back over mode.
So how do you arm it?
All right, so you push right meow, right here. So
meow?
Right meow.
Meow meow.
You're going to push the button to arm the motors. You'll see them spinning. Yep. And then if I'm in the beginner mode, which is the green, that's going to give us our limited angle and all that. You got to go over 50% throttle to get started. And that's got the barometer. It's supposed to hold out to Now for someone starting out, actually, this is very easy to fly. So I'd say if you're new to quadcopters, you don't have any experience with it, probably want to fly inside the house, something like that. The bad weather's coming up soon.
Well, yeah. All right, so
it's dark when you get home.
Flip the switch. Your mode switch. Or actually, you know what? You gotta disarm.
Yes.
Kind of all over the place here. So how do you hook up a goggles to it?
Well, it depends on your goggles, but like for like most of the Eachines, you either hit a scan button or just start searching channels.
All right, so let's say
like with the VR 007 Pros, which is a pretty cheap goggle to get, it's got a good screen.
All right, so goggles on.
Yeah, so you power them up.
Static.
In this case, we're gonna have to find the right channel and the right band. So
how do you do that?
Well, one of the ways to do it is find out what channel it's supposed to be on, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna keep pushing buttons.
We're gonna push the buttons at least 40 times.
Yes. So, oh, look, that was quick.
There it is. So now go up one. See if it's clear. Clear. Actually, let me move it away. The point I'm trying to make here is if it's supposed to be on channel 1, it may be on 2, and it actually may work still. So that looks like it's it.
Now you may get multiple channels, so you see it's 5805 here. But the manual does talk about later on in the manual. It talks about the transmitters, the band and channel. We're gonna look for the Fat Shark band, which is just more common. So that is the FS/IRC. If you look in the quad, there is an LED light flashing in there. We're gonna want the bottom left corner one. It is not on, so you have to hold it for 3 seconds to change to the next band. That's the next one right there. So if you look down in there, depending on, it matches up with this chart, so we're gonna get it down to that Fat Shark one here. So now we have a known channel here. So the next thing to do is find 5740. So in this particular goggle, we're gonna scan until we find it. Now the band on this one should be...
Is it down there? Oh yeah, it's down the bottom corner. Left says...
The bottom left, in this case, Fat Shark 1 on these VR 007s is channel 4, or band 4, channel 1, which is channel 41 on this one.
Yep.
5.74.
Yep. Okay, or on the higher end goggles, or just certain goggles, have a scan button. If you click that, will it click that for me?
Scanning?
It's scanning.
Now, scanning sometimes picks up adjacent channels, so you may have to do it a couple times. That's why it's important to know what channel you're on the camera.
Scanning still, sir. Scanning. Scanning. Oh, locked in. Let's see. What is it supposed to be?
5740. 5.7.
5740. Booyah! You ready?
Hold on. I gotta plug in.
So how's it fly inside?
Barometer mode, you gotta kind of... Yeah, this is in the beginner mode. It's very stable. The throttle feels a little funny. I think I'm getting a little too aggressive for this mode. So I'm gonna do like one more pass.
Whoa! Oh! Hey, you are actually stuck on top of the wing. You could have tried to do that any better than you have. Now let's see if do you think Miyamoto to work?
Where is it?
It's on top of the elevator.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So just pretend that's a ledge on top of a building or a roof or something like that. Ooh. Well, good news is you got it down.
Bad news, I broke it.
Bad news, it doesn't look like it did when you first started flying.
So I did knock off a prop. So I don't know. Oh, that actually seems like it's not very tight. Yeah, you may want to order spare props. Now this is a little more my speed here. I don't have the barometer is actually kind of messing with me because I'm not used to that having the barometer on it.
What's the barometer do on this little guy?
It holds the altitude.
Oh, okay. So that's good for like racing.
I mean, for starting it out, it'd be great. Yeah, this actually I like the second mode a lot better.
Yeah. Back over, and I'm going to challenge him to fly outside in the dark. If it doesn't break it. Yep. Come on outside, sir. How's it look? So it's, I'm not sure. It's past sunset, but there's a little bit of sunlight out there, as you can see in the camera. And he's inside behind this brick wall. And here he's outside. So that little 25 milliwatt is doing pretty good. Now let's close the door on him. Where'd he go? There he is. So now he's outside, the door's closed, here he comes. Oh, here comes a bird. Did you crash? Here, oh crap, where'd you come from? I like to see that transition on the goggles.
It was pretty light. I'm actually pretty impressed how long it's been flying though.
It has a low voltage cutoff, right?
Supposedly. Flying, not just messing around. It's been on longer.
All right, well, the Inductrix FPV Plus.
Does it mean better?
Pluses and minuses. For me, a plus or thumbs up will be no software, BetaFlight.
Yeah, out of the box, extremely quick to set up. I mean, literally less than a minute within your radio if you know how to use your radio pretty well.
But plus, it basically works with any set of goggles out there. Well, it will work with any set of goggles on
anything on 5.8 gigahertz.
Fat Shark channel, all the Eachine ones, Fat Shark, the new ones, the old ones, anything like that. So that's definitely a plus, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Battery,
it's a plus because it's a bigger battery, nice flight times, but it's also like a minus because it's not a normal battery.
Right. Why didn't any of those batteries?
That's the thing. You're gonna want more batteries, so I'm gonna say that's neutral. That's not plus or minus.
Okay.
That's more of a situational thing. One of the minuses, I will say, those props. That
he
made me
really
mad.
loves those props.
I'm not happy. Those props flung off really easy. Kind of reminds me like the Fat B90 all over again. But they're smooth. They are smooth.
Thumbs up on the range, FPV range.
Yeah, the range was good
because you went way outside. That was good. So flight time plus.
Flight time was plus. That was definitely good.
Bigger battery there.
Camera angle was good for this kind of quad. The meow mode.
Well, it worked
in theory
great in one situation and then it worked terrible in the other. So it all depends on when you crash.
Yeah.
So just don't crash.
Don't crash? Okay, perfect. I have several crashes without breaking the frame, so I'm going to say that's a plus. The thing that hits me is the props. I'm not a fan of the props. I'm going to say it again and again.
5 times.
Don't like the props. So
the link will be below to purchase the FPV Plus Inductrix from GraysonHobby.com, along with all the goggles you see here, batteries, spare batteries, and the props that Will loves, and probably props that Will really likes and really hates. So, hey, how do you like those props?
They suck.